Which episode are we on?
Technically, 248.
All right, this is 248, take 2.
You want to expound on that, Phil? Maybe add in some names and stuff.
No, that was just a question. That wasn't the official.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is take 2 of episode 248. Yes.
Indeed. Welcome to episode 248 with Ivan, Chad, and Phil.
Well done.
That sounds pretty official to me.
Last week we had a little recording issue, and we lost some fine talk from Ivan about OS X 10.6? 7. Which one is it?
7.
Which one? 7. Lion. So, summing up, Ivan, couple words. What do you think of, you've been playing with now for a week or so, what do you think of OS X 10.7?
So one of the things that I'd said was it doesn't look and behave a lot different than the previous version. So it's not a drastic change or anything. They implemented a lot of iPhone, iPad type stuff. So they have a thing called the launch pad, which looks like your iPhone screen with the little icons, and you mouse over and click and hold on it, and they start to jiggle, and you can move them around, and you can delete them.
So they're moving the OS X interface more towards the iOS interface.
Yeah, they're kind of combining the two, which is pretty cool. I'm sure the reason they're doing it is because they sell shit tons of iPhones, and everyone knows how to use an iPhone. So they have this thing called the halo effect, which is you buy an iPhone and you're so super impressed with the iPhone, it's awesome. So then you want to buy an iPad, and the iPad is awesome and you love it. So then you need a new computer, and so the first thing they want you to think of is, hey, maybe I'll check out Apple's computers. And so they want you to buy a Mac. And so they're trying to kind of integrate the look and feel of all of their devices so that when people do eventually make that switch, it's like, oh, I know how to use this because this is how it works on my iPhone. So
the only way you can get OS X 10.7, that's from the App Store they have?
Currently, yes. They're supposed to sometime in August release a USB stick with the operating system on it that you can buy. But currently, yeah, you can only download it from the App Store.
Wait, they're not even going to have it on a real disc at all? They're going all...
They have completely eliminated discs, especially because their MacBook Air line, their MacBook Air line of computers has no optical drive. It doesn't have a CD drive because it's so super thin. So, and they're supposed to be releasing, they don't make the MacBook anymore, the plastic one. So you have the Air laptops and the MacBook Pro laptops. And the thinking is eventually they're all going to wind up kind of looking and behaving the same way and be super thin and light and fast with solid state drives and no optical discs. Apple was one of the first companies that eliminated floppy drives from their computers. The PC manufacturers were still stuffing them in there mainly because they tailored to the business world, and the business world used floppy drives a hell of a lot longer than they probably should have. So the thinking from the interwebs is that Apple is going to slowly start phasing out the optical drives, which is one of the reasons why they haven't ever bought into Blu-ray. You can't get a Mac with a Blu-ray player built into it.
Not even as an extra option?
They don't have it as an option. I'm sure there's USB or FireWire or something, external drives that you can get, but not as an option. So they never bought into the Blu-ray thing. And so part of it is because Sony's kind of a rival and this and that and the other thing. But the part of the other thinking is that they are going to slowly, well, actually not slowly, they're moving kind of quickly here, eliminate optical drives. From a gaming perspective, though, the App Store is kind of cool. It's kind of works like Steam. You can download an app, delete it, re-download it. You can put it on multiple computers because it's all tied to your iTunes account username. It's not tied to your computer. So if you own 3 computers, you can put the same game downloaded from the App Store on all 3 of your computers. And the hopeful thinking is that when they release iOS 5, which is supposed to be coming in September, they're going to introduce the cloud thing, which is where they're storing all of your data on the cloud now, and so you can download it from wherever you're at. You won't have to use your computer to set up an iPhone or an iPad. You can download stuff, you can synchronize stuff to the cloud, that kind of stuff. So the hope there is that with gaming type stuff and other applications that you can save progress. So if you're playing Angry Birds or something, you can save your level progress to the cloud and pick it up on your computer, on your iPhone, on your iPad. So that'd be pretty cool.
And can you buy full like retail games in the App Store for Mac? I mean, do they have like Call of Duty and all those?
Call of Duty's there. I don't have it open right now. Remember looking last time. Call of Duty was there. BioShock was in there. A lot of the big named games you can buy in the App Store.
So they're finally starting to catch up a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah. They mainly wanted to do it, like I said, because they are starting to remove retail box software from their stores too. They want you to buy all of your software through the App Store. So it's not just games; it's all applications. They want to go digital.
So they have like people like Adobe and all those on board to have their stuff through the App Store?
Well, a lot of them you can buy through the App Store. Obviously, Adobe's still going to make retail discs so that they can make places like Best Buy happy. But
the companies like Adobe, like others that do Mac stuff, things that you find in the Mac Store on the shelf.
Correct. So yeah, it's pretty cool. There's a bunch of little features I'm not going to bother going through. You can look them up online. The big thing is the iOS kind of integration and look and feel.
Are you happy with it so far?
I am kind of apathetic at the moment. I'm a big Mac fanboy now. I'm an Apple fanboy. It's cool. I like it. I launch like 2 or 3 applications ever. I don't use my computer a whole lot for a lot of different things. I use it for Aperture, for pictures, and I use it for gaming type stuff. And currently, as everyone knows, I've really been playing League of Legends a lot. So it's like I launch that and I'm done. So I haven't really, taken full advantage of all of the things that it has to offer. But so in apathetic, not in a bad way, in that, yeah, it's kind of cool. Some of the new features are cool. I wouldn't have been horribly upset if, it was delayed or if it wasn't due out for another year or two. It's not like I was all super happy, excited, can't wait to get the new OS because there's so many cool things that I'll be able to do now, kind of thing.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned all that because I was looking through some of the news and this guy was doing a blog comparing the iPad and will its functionality start to replace PCs in households. So in one sense I can see it as far as the casual person that's checking their email and checking like stocks and stuff like that and news and whatnot. So yeah, it's a cheap alternative to buying either a laptop or a desktop PC or whatever and not taking up a lot of space. But for people like us that do more than that, like play games, play League of Legends, play World of Warcraft, play shooter games, it's not practical.
The iPad is definitely good for casual people who want to do web surfing, email, and some casual type games or little things like that. Desktops are still going to be around for a while because of those big things like gaming and higher end applications. You're really not going to want to use an iPad to do an Excel spreadsheet or write a book, in a word processor application on an iPad. You're still going to want to probably do that on a computer. Video editing, video and picture editing is not great on an iPad, kind of stuff. And certainly people who do like Photoshop for a living or Final Cut Pro for high-end professional video editing is never really going to be replaced by something like an iPad. So computers are still there. What Apple's trying to do, though, and they've said as much, is they want to, quote, reduce their PC line to a peripheral. So right now your Macintosh is the center, or your computer, I should say, is the center of your world as far as Apple's concerned. You plug your iPhone and your iPad into your computer, You have to synchronize it to get stuff. They want the cloud to be their main thing now. So everything is done in the cloud, and then it just kind of propagates to all of your devices. So they want to make at least the Macintosh, MacBooks and iMacs into more of a peripheral than a hub. They want the cloud to be the hub. So they're kind of, in Apple's eyes, they're losing some importance as far as the focus of of everything they do. But they're still going to be around for quite a while, I would imagine. But you're right, for that reason, for the stuff that you said.
Yeah, so it does make more sense that they would eliminate the lower end line of MacBooks.
Well, that and their MacBook Air cost the same as the introductory MacBook. So the introductory MacBook Air was the same price as the introductory MacBook. So they just kind of felt like it was redundant too.
Okay. Sounds good. Okay, so what else have we done this last week? Anything?
This last week, no. I have been busy at work and getting ready to do things coming up at work. The next couple of weeks are going to be kind of hectic. I got a bunch of stuff going on, so it's mainly been same games I was playing last week, Card Combat and the like on the iPhone and iPad, League of Legends on the computer.
I don't have a real full review of this, but all I will say is if people out there like the board game called Ghost Stories, there is a version of Ghost Stories on the iPad which plays just like the board game.
You know, I saw that the other day. I think on Touch Arcade or something I saw it, and I looked at it and I thought, yeah, this looks exactly like a board game. I was unfamiliar with the actual board game.
The board game is a cooperative board game. You're playing against the board. If you've played something like Pandemic or Defenders of the Realm, it's one of those kind of things where there are crises happening and you have to work together with other players to overcome the crises and then hopefully survive to the end. And it's all set in ancient China. So you have monks, Taoist monks fighting vampires, Wu Fang, and all these evil demons coming at you. And the iPad version, which is I think $6 right now, which, you know, kind of steep for an iPad thing, but it's fairly worth it if you like the board game, which I do, and it plays just like it. So it's a very good investment if you are into Ghost Stories. I haven't even gotten past like the first 5 rounds of the game before dying. So I die pretty quick. Within like 5 minutes, I'm already dead, and I gotta start over again. The only downside is the best way to play Ghost Stories is with 4 players. This one only supports 1 player and 2 players. So it's not the greatest.
Does it improve on the board game experience, something like Carcassonne did? So Carcassonne and or that other game with the sheep.
Yeah.
Catan. Both of those are really good board games. I know Carcassonne was a pain to actually play the actual game because you had to do math, you know, at the end of the round, and the digitized versions made that easy by, you know, adding up all the stuff for you.
You know, I first had that same thought too when I first, you know, I played Carcassonne once in reality and then played the Carcassonne app and all the ones online and found that it was much easier. Now, after playing with, I've been out here in Albuquerque, I've met some board gaming groups and I'm playing a lot of Carcassonne people out here, and I actually find that it's kind of equal for me now. The real game version, they've shown all kinds of tricks to get the counting faster and just makes more sense, especially if more people, it just happens quicker. But from the person who really doesn't do that, the board game version of Ghost Stories does ease some of the, you know, little rules you might forget, those kind of things. So because there's lots of rules with this game as you're playing it, and the board game computer handling everything makes it much simpler and faster. So whereas in reality it would take me 10 minutes to die, in the computer game version, the iPad version takes me 2 minutes to die. So, you know, happens quicker.
And I know, like with Catan, Catan wasn't hard to do either way. It was a little nicer, though, for a digitized version because you didn't have all the little pieces that you had to worry about if someone bumped the board. Or at the very least, you know, cleaning up at the end, putting all the tiny little pieces into tiny little bags so that they didn't get lost or confused with other things. You know, having a digital version means you don't have to do any cleanup afterwards. I know that that's always a bonus.
Yeah, I never really enjoyed the Catan online versions as much as the real Catan.
Well, and that's obviously the other thing too, is when you're playing a board game, you're never going to play by yourself. It's a much more social interaction type of thing, so you're definitely losing that. Even if you play online with somebody, it's just not the same.
With games being so short and quick, is there much replay value, like to play right away, or is it kind of one of those games like Malahor where you're just like, all right, I'm frustrated, I don't want to play again for a while?
No, there's high. I mean, with Ghost Stories, there's high replay value because there's a lot of randomness in the game. So you could have gotten screwed one time just because of how you drew ghosts, because you basically draw a ghost every time. It can cause more ghosts to appear, that kind of thing. So there's a lot of randomness where I don't mind. It's high replay value. You can just go right back in, do it all again, and try a different strategy.
So do you recommend it, though, for somebody? So you said for somebody who likes board games?
For someone who likes Ghost Stories, if you want to have an online version that you can play solo, I don't think the 2-player version would be very much fun. Just playing it solo, I think it's good. I would probably wait for a sale, though. $6 is kind of steep.
Okay.
So probably 3 or 4. If they ever go on sale for 3 or 4, I'd highly recommend it. 6 is a little steep. If they ever do some sort of online thing for it, I don't think there's any online play right now, but if there ever was online play, I would probably recommend it more then.
Gotcha.
But it's a very fun little solitaire thing. $6 kind of steep, but I like Ghost Stories. That's why I bought it. So if you like Ghost Stories, if you like to play solitaire, $6, just go out and get it because it's a really good version of it. Otherwise, hang on for a sale. So there you go. What else we got? Phil, you got anything? Cool. Besides people dying?
Yeah, we finally got something we haven't talked about in a long time. It's a video game death.
So no then.
Chris Staniforth, who's 20-year-old kid that died from a blood clot caused from deep vein thrombosis, and he would play up to 12-hour marathon matches of Halo and stuff like that, and that happened fairly recently.
Sounds fun.
Yep.
So now his parents are going on this big push for awareness to everybody out there to get their kids to be active, or at least get up and take breaks in between games and stuff.
Most people who die from that actually die from that flying in planes because they're sitting for like a 16-hour flight. Blood clots build up. It's kind of odd that you're sitting for 16 hours playing a game straight, not moving, even for bathroom.
Yeah, I get kind of itchy after like 45 minutes to an hour. I got to get up and move for a little bit.
As long as you move every couple hours, you're fine. It's kind of odd to sit there. And actually, he was, I think I read the article you sent. Wasn't he like a game designer or something? He was going to be in game design?
Yeah, he's supposed to be working his way in the gaming industry.
No.
So yeah, it's too bad.
All right. You got anything else, or is that going to be...
I do not have anything else.
Yeah, I have nothing. All I have right now is my hands are peeling from all the chemicals I've been using to clean my house, so...
Chemical peel.
Oh, yeah, and you have to use degreasers and bleach stuff to make it all nice and clean, and Murphy's oil soap. Nice hardwood floors. Did buy a miter saw today, so I might cut my hand off by next week.
Awesome.
Oh, please don't do that.
Do it.
It's got a laser level, too, a laser strike where it shows you where the blade's going down.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so I guess we're good.
Alrighty then.
For take 2 of episode 248, would anybody like to say any final closing words to wrap this all up?
Negative.